Hello, family. Welcome back to JFK Today, your direct link to all things politics, comedy, and culture. I am your host, Janaya Future Khan, champ yapper and frequent nuisance in the activist and comedy worlds. Let's get dialed in. Before we jump, just a reminder, JFK Today is a self-funded, self-produced show. We're on Patreon at Janaya FK. I'm so grateful for all the support out there and for you to just take the time to listen. Now, into the good stuff you already know. We're doing more Mangione. Be talking about Lina motherfucking Khan. Now listen, you may not have heard of her, but some dope ass shit has happened under her tenure. She's the chair of the Federal Trade Commission. I promise I'm going to make it interesting and a little bit on the late great Nikki Giovanni. But first, just some headlines we got to get through because you know I'd be finding the best ones. Okay, I read about these nuns today, and this was in the New York Times, okay? It said these nuns were excommunicated but won't leave their convent. So basically, there's a group of nuns that are going to war with the Roman Catholic Church, which I'm like, awesome, because they won't leave. Like, the Roman Catholic Church was like, you have to leave your convent, like, we own, you. And they're like, well, we own this property, bitch. And their names, the name of this convent is the Poor Clares of Bellarado. The Poor Clares, like in the name, the Poor Clares of Bellarado. Let me tell you something. Let me tell the Pope right now. If you give nuns a gangster ass name, then don't act confused when they act gangster. How is this not a band? We're forming a band. Who's doing it? Who's ready? This is my New Year's resolution. Okay, I'm learning the electric guitar so as to limit my screen time. We're doing it. We're joining the poor Clares of Bellarado. They are so gangster. They found out that one of these like priest dudes was coming to try to find the spare keys in the village. And so they jumped in a Sprinter van to intercept the priest while the others ran to different janitors around the town, to gather the spare keys. I don't know. I was really into that. That was I was like, I didn't know the New York Times had sauce sometimes. It shocked me. Speaking of sauce, Viva la Mexico. Okay? Animal welfare is now in Mexico's national constitution. Do you understand? They put animal welfare into the national constitution. Mexican President Claudia Sheinbaum signed a set of constitutional reforms, right? So this is going to pave the way for a comprehensive federal animal welfare law. This is the first ever mention of non-human animals in the Mexican Constitution. It's obviously a milestone achievement for animal rights. Remember those things? Not when the annoying people say them, but like the things that we actually need to care about as what we're supposed to be, which is caretakers of the land. One of the key reasons for this, of course, is because of the pervasive animal cruelty and extreme confinement in the country's growing meat industry. We already know the kinds of abuse that happens here and the kinds of abuse that animals suffer in America. It would be wonderful if we could actually put in some of those same protections. Anyway, last quick hit. I got to tell you, I don't know what else to call this except for the ultimate mid-off. The girlies have lost their mind. There is an influencer named Sydney Nicole Gifford who is suing her rival, Alyssa Scheel, a former friend, for copying her bland style. I'm not joking. That's the language that's being used. She wears a lot of beige, a lot of black, a lot of white. Call it a clean style or whatever. And now she's saying that that's her style. That's my copywritten style. And Alyssa Scheel has stolen it from me. And she's suing her for $150,000 over lost income. And here's my favorite part: mental anguish. Like, you guys, this is a straight up battle of the beige. This is aggressively bland. I didn't know that those two things could come together like that. Anyway, I'm going to be watching this because it does have the lawsuit has larger implications. Okay. Cause look, like, as much as trying to make a legal claim that somebody else wearing beige has infringed upon your personal rights, it's not that this person doesn't have a case. That's what's wild. So a professor at Harvard Law School, right, Rebecca Tushnet said, in general, copyright doesn't protect style or, quote, vibe, because that's the other thing. She's like, she stole my vibe. But it is theoretically possible that two specific images or videos could be so similar that one could infringe the other, but it would have to be a case-by-case determination. So if it were to rule in Gifford's favor, this is the person who's suing, it would be a very big deal, right? Because, like, I don't know, it's like Bloomberg Law noted, that a ruling like this could set a troubling precedent, enabling influencers to wield IP rights to control certain markets on social media platforms by owning color schemes or types of photos. Let me tell you something. I am not participating in this mid-off. This is ridiculous. I can't believe it. And you know what? When I read what I read today, which I'm about to tell you, it didn't make sense to me, but now I get it. Okay. What is the largest ethnic group in America? This is from the Census Bureau. Washington Post reported on it. Guess what? If you're like me, when you hear like ethnic, right? You think of the supermarket section. You think people like me. Maybe Jewish people. It's as far as it goes. That's not what we discovered. Myself and the several journalists who wrote this, who also use the word shocked very often, was the largest ethnic group in America is German. Did you see that coming? German. Irish is the second. Great. Chef's kiss. English is the third. And I was like, I definitely thought that would have been the first one, because aren't those the losers? The ones who like couldn't hack it in real England and so came here and threw a fit? Okay. No, they're third. And then Black and Mexican folks are fourth and fifth. And then there's a classification that's just called American. And this is my favorite, right? This is like, it goes down the list. There's a bunch of like random things. There's one called uncodable. And then there's Polish. It's like, I'm classifying these girls in uncodable because I don't know what the fuck this is about. This is a waste. That was a colossal waste of time. I'm like, I hate that there's some serious legal implications and nonsense. Anyway, let's get down to the brass tacks about Mangione. You already know. Our beautiful, beautiful man, our beautiful boy, our hung son has officially been charged with murder. And I got to tell you something. I've been really upset. Like, I woke up angry about this because I was like, why was he in the fucking McDonald's? Did you all wake up with that frustration as well? Like, nigga, you just murdered a CEO, allegedly. Allegedly. What are you doing out of the house? Why are you out of the house? What's wrong with Instacart? It's not like you don't have money, my boy. But then I remembered he's 26. That's why he was in McDonald's. He's 26. That's where I was. It explains a lot. It also explains why he didn't scrub his accounts for all things that could be indicting or condemnable in this case. Like, so much of the evidence was circumstantial. I will never forgive that narc in McDonald's. I don't know who the fuck you are. I read all about what it takes to get that tip money. You know, when you call in and you make a tip, Crime Stoppers, whatever the fuck. He not getting that money. There are checks and balances on that shit. They do not want to give anybody money for anything. And the most that you're going to get out of it, if you're lucky, the absolute most was $50K. Bitch ass nigga. Sorry. Okay. I'm just upset about it. Okay. You know, there is something that has not been discussed enough about this, and I'm going to jump into it in a second, but I want to tell you what Elon Musk had to say about this, because he was a bit too quiet. First of all, nobody has more time in their day than Elon Musk, right? He just is constantly on Twitter. He doesn't work anymore. I don't know if he ever did. Okay. I really don't. I don't know if people work when they inherit mines. Emerald mines in South Africa. I don't know how that shit works. But I'm telling you, this nigga's not working, because he is on every subject, every topic, he's on it. So I was like, let me go see what he said about this, because he was not making a peep about this yesterday. So this is my favorite thing. This guy, this is a moment. This is what he said. So he put a picture of our beautiful boy. And he said, it's disgusting. Hold on, let me pull this up. It's disgusting how everyone is turning this guy into some kind of folk hero. Insurance companies, like any company, have a duty to shareholders to maximize profits, no matter how ruthlessly the radical left espousing otherwise needs to grow the hell up. Right? First of all, I hope we understand what he's revealed in this. I mean, I know it's what we already know, but it's that disgusting, maximalist, for-profit, specifically for shareholder transparency. That definitely took me, but then I remembered that for all the dudes that follow him that don't have the brain power, or like they don't have the sight, they don't have the perspicacity because you can't on your knees. But anyway, maybe they don't see it. But it was a reveal in that moment, and it's one that we should exploit. And I'm going to tell you why, right? This is a great area to sow discord and dissent, because this was a unifying moment for us. And when Luigi Mangione's account went down, right? I mentioned that his Twitter account was pulled. It had gone up to like 180 something followers, right? People got pissed off at Elon Musk for that. His people. That I thought you said, but Elon Musk didn't want Mangione up there because he was talking shit. Well, he reinstated the account. I mean, not that it's going to be active anytime soon, but I'm just saying this is a good precedent for us to note, because I'm telling you right now, Elon Musk did not want to do that. Anyway, here's the key thing, because in the media, in the news, it's all Mangione, his wonderful upbringing, his Ivy League this, his wealth that, right? The kind of family he had, da-da-da-da. You know what they're not talking about? They're talking about his back pain, talking about when he got quiet, right? You want to know what they're not talking about? Insurance provider profits over the last 10 years. That's what they're not fucking talking about, okay? Let me tell you something about United Health right now, okay? In 2013, their profits, the United Health, like when he wrote in his, like, I still haven't ascertained how true it is, because the latest manifesto that came out definitely sounds like the feds wrote it. Like it literally starts out with, I respect what the feds do, even if it's like against me or something. And I was like, he did not write this shit. I refuse to believe it. But get this, right? This is between 2013 and 2023. United Health Group, as Mangione and everybody can name, is the like largest, right? Because we don't have enough antitrust regulations and laws. In 2013, they made $7.86 billion, right? In 2023, they made $32.4 billion. That's why this happened. Cigna in 2013 made $1.8 billion. 1.8. 2023, 7.4, right? CVS, I don't know how to say this one. Aetna? Okay. 6.1 billion in 2013. In 2023, 13.7. Do you see there's a trend? And there's like 4 or 5 others on the list, but let's just say in 2013, right? The major 7 of the major companies in 2013 collectively made 22.7 billion. Okay. In 2023, they made 70.7 billion. I want you to think about how did our salaries exponentially grow? Did our healthcare coverage just explode out somehow and become much more accessible and expansive? Did any of those awesome things happen? No, they did not. This is what the media is not talking about, and it is infuriating. Now, look, I love me some Mangione, you know this, and it's what they're not saying. It's what they're not saying. And we're going to see over and over again a deep investment in sort of minimizing the conditions and creating, what do I want to say? They're creating a single story out of a systemic issue. There is a larger narrative being missed here. And as much as we got to be careful, this is one of those moments where alternative media is going to be integral to a game shift change that we need in terms of how people get information. Of course, the hard part is making it so fucking big and awesome that it's irresistible. That's what Tony Cade Bambara says, right? That's the job of the artist. We have to make our shit irresistible. Okay. I want to tell you about one of the most gangster people that we are about to lose. And I don't think, not lose like she's going anywhere or whatever, but lose like, she's the chair of the FTC, okay? She's the chair of the FTC. And when you think of the FTC, you don't think, wow, that's awesome. That's the Federal Trade Commission, right? Now, I learned about this I learned about what the Federal Trade Commission did and what role they played or did not play when I worked at Color of Change for those 2 years. And I had mentioned, I wanted to do a lot more in corporate accountability and figure out what the shadow players are. So when we're dealing with a behemoth like Facebook, for example, right, and the silencing, we made this whole power map. And that's when you can see all the major players. Like when we make a complaint down in the ground, right, as like say an activist on Facebook, and I'm like, hey, we're being censored because we're activists and because we're nignogs or whatever the case may be. You got to understand the complaints from the ground floor, and you got to understand the complaints from the top, right, and or the enablers or allies. And the thing with these like federal bodies that's so important to remember is they are only as useful as the people in power, as the people steering it. A lot of them exist for the best possible reasons, right? But when you have a dud sitting in office or when they don't do their fucking job, it doesn't matter. They're just like working for the billionaires. That's who their constituents are in their mind. That's who their stakeholders are. So anyway, she has been the FTC chair. If you want to know how good she is at her job, I'm about to tell you. But Elon Musk hates her. Like he personally hates her. Donald Trump can't stand her. And just about every billionaire in America can't fucking stand her and wants her gone. Immediately, and I'm going to tell you something. If the worst people in the world think that you suck or they don't like you, well, you're doing your job very well. So let me tell you a little bit about the Federal Trade Commission. I promise I'm going to make a gangster, but their principal mission is the enforcement of civil antitrust law. Do you get me? That's it, right? And the promotion of consumer protection. Now that sounds like what? Just random, right? But just let's go down to our level. I'm talking scams, fraud, identity theft, false advertising, privacy violations, anti-competitive behavior, which is what we see when these massive corporations, come together, right? So I'm going to tell you something right now. I'm going to just tell you this right fucking now, okay? Right fucking now. Today, a U.S. judge blocked the pending $25 billion merger of U.S. grocery chains Kroger, right, and Albertsons. And they argued that, and why? Why did a judge block it? Because the FTC, led by Lina motherfucking Khan, argued that in a 3-week trial in Portland, Oregon, right, that the merger would eliminate head-to-head competition between the top 2 traditional grocery chains. This would lead to higher prices for us and reduced bargaining leverage for unionized workers. Workers. This is an essential play against inflation. Do we understand that? Do you remember when that was a thing that everybody was talking about? All the little MAGA voters. Remember when all the MAGA hoes talked about how eager they were to throw the other wretched of the earth into the meat grinder for some cheaper eggs? You hopeful, delirious, simple bitch. Let me tell you something. This is why accounting books don't get mixed up with diaries, you weak ass bitch. They're about to have the worst kind of egg on their face and won't even have the brain power to understand why. Oh my God. Like, you guys. We're all about to be anemic and have polio while we curb our hunger with readily available Ozempic knockoffs and subsist on sea moss, dehydrated chicken nuggets, and Oreos while we bury our dead from mass E. coli poisonings, right? And live in shacks. We'll live in fucking stacked shacks as we slowly die from fucking formaldehyde-infused infrastructure and radiation exposure while trillionaires pay pennies for plasma transplants from teenagers bred and fed for organs. That's where we're headed. Sorry. This is also a good moment to add that Trump said today that he will waive any environmental regulations for any business that throws down $1 billion. So we are so fucking cooked. But our Korean skincare routine will be flawless. Let's just be really honest. Okay. Let me, Lina Khan was on Hassan Piker's stream today. And regardless of people and everyone can't. Everyone said, this is what everyone says when I bring up a soundbite. Like, he's so annoying, but sometimes he's right. And it's like, it's good to have a giant Turkish man on our side, you guys. But anyway, he doesn't handle certain pushback well, but I like having him around. But Lina will tell you a little bit about what she's done, because she's rocked the house a bit.
Fortunate to have a fantastic team at the agency, and honestly, we have delivered W after W for the American people.
Sorry, she just said we have delivered W after W for the American people. I just needed to tee that up, because that's a gangster line to open up with.
We took on patenting abuse, where we found that inhalers have been around for decades, but Americans are still paying hundreds of dollars for them, and generics have not been able to come into the market as much. Our team took a close look and figured out that part of why that is that some of these inhaler manufacturers are listing patents for things like the little piece of plastic on your inhaler.
Do you hear that? Okay, I am an inhaler user. I am still in denial that I have asthma, because I don't understand. I'm a preemie baby who is very poorly designed. I'm a very poor design. I am absolutely in denial that I have asthma still to this day. All I know is if I don't inhale several times a day, right, I'll have breathing problems, but I don't make the correlation that it's because I have asthma. But this thing that she's talking about immediately impacted me, right? My medication changed and became more affordable because the FTC challenged the piece of plastic patent that made it so that these niggas could corner the inhaler market, those freaks.
Yeah.
And so we called that out. And then 3 of the 4 big inhaler manufacturers said they're going to drop how much Americans pay down from hundreds of dollars to just $35. We've taken on non-compete clauses. These are the contractual provisions in people's employment contracts that say, even after you leave your current employer, you can't go work for certain competitors. You can't go start your own competing business. These non-competes started off in the boardroom, but they now, are in employment contracts for janitors, security guards, fast food workers.
It's like, and here's the thing. It's nerdcore, right? There's more to be listed. There's more to be said. I'll give her like another 10 seconds, but this is important for us to know. And we want these nerdy people in these positions of power. She has been a thorn in the side of mega billionaires. I remember when Lina Khan came into the FTC and it was like, oh, we can work with them now. That's somebody that we can ally with now. And those days are behind us, but the work goes on.
People making minimum wage, doctors across the country, healthcare professionals across the country. And so we've taken on these coercive contracts. We passed a rule that would eliminate them. We've taken law enforcement action, resulting in thousands of non-competes being dropped. We're also just taking on some of the daily indignities that people experience. I'll give you a few examples. We finalized a rule that would require companies make it as easy to cancel a subscription as it is to sign up for one, because we'll end it there. But do you see, like, there's huge things like ending this Kroger merger, right? Because they did not show enough evidence for how this would benefit everyday people. They couldn't, because it's not the investment. But this right here, canceling a subscription. I remember, hey, Lina Khan, can you make it so that the gyms stop this too? Like, can you help us? I remember I signed up to LA Fitness. It took me, because, I was delusional. It was the beginning of a new year. I thought I had dreams. Okay. 2 months in, after, Black Christmas happened. I was still dealing with the shit at Gay Christmas in June, trying to get out of this fucking thing. And they were like, well, you got to come back when there's a manager. Well, the manager's not in today. Well, he's only here in these certain hours. And then finally, I was just like, I had to stage a protest in that bitch. But these small things, they don't get fixed if nobody's dealing with them. And the mergers don't get stopped unless people are fighting against them tooth and nail. Anyway, that's a little bit about Lina Khan. one of the first things that Donald Trump is going to do, that a whole administration is going to be to replace her. So I looked up who the front runner is. It's this loser named Andrew Ferguson. He's the top pick. And he's immediately going to pull back on agency rulemaking and watchdog duties of the Federal Trade Commission. But I'm putting this out there so that we understand that despite how shitty everything seems, the best people, right? And the best bills often get smothered under establishment Democratic bullshit and corporations, lobby groups, and corporate players doing everything they can to ensure that like no good things happen for everyday people. And our mainstream media doesn't tell us what we need to know. I'm sure more than half of you have never heard of Lina Khan's name before. But if they'd been doing their job, right? I mean, even Maddow, I mess with Maddow, right? Her and Colbert, my two favorite lesbians. I love them, you know? But we need the type of news information in this new media economy that also tells us where we can plug in our energies for, because this shit can make you nuts. And with that, that feels like a perfect segue to just name Nikki Giovanni. You know, this has been a nutty Newsweek, a nutty year. I know that a lot of us are just, my screws are all the more loose by this time of the year. They really are. I'm unhinged. I told you what my eating habits are like. Woo! Woo-hoo! But then you listen to the words of Nikki Giovanni and so much makes sense. And you remember how much is possible. Well, this brilliant poet, activist, freedom fighter, and scholar, she passed away. She was 81 years old. There's a million wonderful poems out there that belong to Nikki Giovanni, a million brilliant speeches. But I'm going to play you a clip. And if you'll indulge me a little bit, right? Because this is like the 1970s where they all talked in a very specific cadence and very slow. But I want to just tell you. So Nikki Giovanni's talking to James Baldwin, right? The James Baldwin. And he's very good at what he does. He had the gay accent down pat. It's very rare. It is very rare when somebody can challenge him in a way that renders him almost inarticulate. They are talking about the role of men and women in the Black community, but specifically how Black men treat Black women, and how Nikki Giovanni is saying, you know, they get a little bit of the shit end of the stick. But I want you to listen real close, because what they're talking about actually has to do with all of us and how we treat each other in general.
What I really mean is that, yes, a man can do that if he sees a way, if he sees that it means something. My father couldn't see that. And he was quite right, because there wasn't anything.
There's something, because all I know that works in the world is a relationship.
Yes, all right.
Okay, that's all that's going to work. It takes two people to have a relationship.
Yeah, but the relationship.
If you don't have a dream, fake it.
But the relationship, you can't fake a dream.
You got to fake it, because we don't have dreams these days. How the hell can you have a dream? For what?
Well, it isn't.
So everybody's jiving, but let's jive on that level.
If I love you, I can't lie to you.
Of course you can lie to me, and you will. If you love me and you're going off with Maddie someplace, you're lying to me. Because what the hell do I care about the truth? I care if you're there. What Billie Holiday say, hush now, don't explain.
All right, I accept that.
Of course you lie to me, because I don't even want to care. What does the truth matter? And why are you going to be truthful with me when you lie to everybody else? You lied when you smiled at that cracker down the job, right? Lie to me, smile. Treat me the same way you would treat him.
I can't treat you the way I treat him.
You must. Because I've caught the frowns and the anger. He's happy with you. Of course he doesn't know you're unhappy. You grin at him all day long. You come home and I catch hell. Because I love you, I get least of you. I get the very minimum.
That right there. That right there. This is something for all of us to hold very, very close, right? Nikki Giovanni is saying, yes, your life is hard. Your life as a man, as a Black man, is hard. My life is hard too, but the things that matter most are relationship. And he's saying, yes, but we've been outside and we have to fake it all day. We've worked our jobs and we can't come home and fake it. So we are miserable with you. We do beat you. We do leave you. We do drink. And she says, no, fake it with me. You have all these smiles and all this love and all this credit for people you feel nothing for, and you come home and you treat me like shit. Fake it with me. And it's a really interesting choice of words, right? Because you wouldn't think it, but this is the power of a poet, right? Fake it with me. And we all know this thing, you got to fake it to make it or whatever. But when you change your behavioral patterns, that becomes normal to you. But we do this thing where we pretend we're okay. And we treat, sometimes we treat strangers better than we treat the people that we love and hold closest. And there's something really beautiful about that, because it suggests an emotional safety. But the responsibility of those of us who love people, right, is to make sure that love is felt, and that safety goes beyond your feelings in a moment. This was one of those moments where I got to see Nikki Giovanni in action. She was younger than James Baldwin in this time. This is from like the 70s or whatever. The whole conversation's online. But that was the most contentious moment of their interview, because you were grappling with these two systems. And really that's the debate today, isn't it? Dudes say, my life is hard, nobody gets it, I'm out here struggling. And women are like, yeah, so is everybody. The world is like, men are lonely, and women are like, yeah, we all are. And the media is like, we have to do something about the loneliness epidemic in men. And it's like, no, everybody's lonely. But that's the thing. If we're all alone, we're all together in that too. And so this whole gender shit, I'm like, treat people well. That's it. To the best of your ability. I am a fucking nut job, okay? The drama that I bring to people in my life. I remember I had a friend, my closest friend, from time, like, told KR earlier on. KR's actually sitting across from me. They're not here most of the times, but they're here right now, because KR was like, gosh, it was like crisis after crisis. And Zerna was like, this is the norm. I think I blew a tire. I lost my, this, that, and the other. Like, the healthcare was being threatened. My citizenship was my bid for citizenship was in the process of getting rejected. And this is the norm. And I know that's life. That's life for most of us. It's almost like unending crisis. Nobody told us that adulthood sucks, but this is a moment for us, right, to remember what matters most. Your best years are still fucking in front of you. Your best work has yet to be done. Everything about this society keeps trying to smash us down into nothing. Tells us that what we do doesn't matter. And the struggle ahead, it might be the toughest fight yet. But I promise you, we have everything we need to rise to the occasion. We got all the pieces. It's just about finding them and pulling them together. Anyway, I didn't mean to get all mushy gross. I can't even think of a joke quickly enough because I didn't have enough calories today. Let me just hit the VMs for that voicemail today. Oh my God, I'm so embarrassed. I'm so embarrassed.
Hi, this is Koa from San Diego, calling to get your thoughts on connecting with news in a productive way. I stopped listening to the news about 2 years ago when I realized that most of the stories I was hearing were stuff that already happened or stuff that was happening that I couldn't do anything about. And I'd like to connect with news that gives me an opportunity to participate.
Okay, wonderful. Thank you, Koa. That is so right in line with where we're at in the show. So over the break, I think the 18th will be the last episode that comes out. I'm a workaholic. Over the break, I'm catching up on everything for everyone on the Patreon. You will be getting a personal message from me. I'm going to be building out in a more robust way, moving into interviews, etc. But one of the things that I want us to do as a collective, we're going to have to figure out moderators or whatever, is having a very active Discord channel where we are like literally, we have a list of organizations, a list of campaigns. Like there are places where people can plug into because the feeling of uselessness and helplessness is part of what this country encourages. And that's where our mainstream media has failed the most. It doesn't tell the stories that we need to know. It doesn't give us vital information that we need to know about our lives or about what's actually happening that will impact our lives directly. It's very inconsistent and uneven in how it's applied. It's mostly the stories that will boost their ratings. And we know that these are billionaire-owned entities now and that the game is changing. The oligarchy they're stepping out of the shadows, you know? And you know what? So are we. That's it. This is the year. This was our last year of obscurity. So I'm really looking forward to that. We can do something so different and model something so different. And that's what I'm looking forward to most in this work. So I want you all to have a strong sense of like what it is that you're investing in. We are creating a different information and activism economy together, an ecology. Anyway, that's some nerd shit. Point is, just to round out, because I finally thought of something profound. You know, I had to think of something profound to say before I got off. Otherwise, I would be washing my face 2 hours from now and be like, what's wrong with you? You got to be brave enough to give the love that you long for. That's it. It takes a lot of courage and it takes a lot of discipline to do it. But I remember very, 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 very well a time where I didn't have anyone and didn't have anything. And I decided that night when I was 16 years old that I was going to, just try to be for other people what I longed for. And it worked. It really worked. And that's all we can do. Yeah, that's it. I am so glad to actually have a space where we could talk about what the fuck is happening and not want to tear our eyeballs out at the end of the day. Every second of the day, I am going Girl Interrupted. I want you to know that from the bottom of my heart, right? I will jam this in my aorta right now. And yes, it's in the wrong spot. Anyway, okay, it seems like it's just about time to hit that outro music. It's been a blast. I just want to say thank you so much for listening to JFK Today. It means the world to me. This show really is a labor of love. New episodes drop 4 times a week. We're available everywhere podcasts are. If you love the show, please feel free to support as best as you can. Our Patreon is at patreon.com/JanayaFK. Don't forget, I want to hear from you. Drop your voice note questions to jfktodayshow@gmail.com. Shout out to KR and Carolyn. And shout out to you, the listeners, that make it all possible. Love you.